let's introduce you. Rich Reason, Hit and Run, Ghost of Garage. I can't even keep up. Disco Puss.
Disco Puss,
Anything
yeah.
else? Oh, we've got your exhibition nights as well. And
I'm not doing exhibition. They're at Ramona now. Every
Ramona
Wednesday,
nights
I do
now.
every Ramona radio rave. Rich Reason's Ramona radio rave. Every Wednesday.
loads of ours.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
More-
rolls off a tongue.
Yeah. And so doing that, obviously I was involved with Levelz for years, and agent for a few artists and DJ all the time.
Man of many talents. You've just been DJing before you
Yeah, I
came
know.
here.
This is you're a podcast sandwich. So I've done 6 hours of bar DJing this afternoon, and then I've got another 6 hours tonight, and then I've got to go flyer. So yeah, long day.
So anyone would try and get on.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, when it needs to be done. Yeah, I kind of think.
That's an old school way of doing it as well. Do you know what I mean? No one does that shit anymore.
Yeah, but that's how you get face to face. That thing
Yeah.
that me and Rich have always found, like with events, is that when you give someone a flyer and they've never been to your event before, and then they turn up and then they see you and come over, and then you just have a little bit of a bond,
Yeah.
and then they start coming every week. Then. Do you know what I mean? And it just feels like I think that's what's like club life is like. Well, like the nighttime industry is missing now. Is that like personal
touch?
And this
You know
is
what I mean?
Danny Earth Agency, by the way.
Danny Earth Agency.
Thank you very much.
Your name's not actually Danny Earth, but it is on Facebook.
Yeah.
What's your surname again?
Misell, M-I-S-E-L-L.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Me and
that's the
Danny
one.
go quite far back. I remember you used to. Was you a bouncer at Satan's?
Yeah, we were moshers together, Lee.
Yeah,
we were moshers together.
Back in the mosher days.
Manchester Mosher friends.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
lovely.
I'm still a mosher now. I always will be. That's my one true love.
Yeah.
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 So Rich, were you ever a Mosher?
Can't say I was ever a mosher. No.
Neither were I.
I like rock music till about the end of the 70s, and then that's.
But you
Is
know,
that how long you been alive?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But right now, so I feel with horror with heavy metal music, pretty much goes hand in hand with horror films.
Yeah.
And Rich doesn't watch horror films.
No.
He's
You know.
not into them.
Don't see
too
the point.
scared
It's basically, I just don't see the point of being scared as entertainment.
God,
Basically, I mean, to be
I like
fair,
it.
I got into the Dawn of the Dead's. Was it Romero or whatever?
Yeah.
And because they're kind of allegories for consumerism and some materialism and things like that. So I connected it on that level. But yeah, when the gore happens, even bad 70s gore, I do turn away. To be honest, I got traumatized when I was 6 years old, where I went around to one of my parents' friend's house, and there was like a 12-year-old. They had like a 12-year-old son. And he was like, right, we're going to watch Ghostbusters together.
Yeah.
And I watched, but I was 6 years old. And I know it sounds ridiculous because like Slimer and Marshmallow Man, but do you remember there was like I Am the Gatekeeper?
Yeah.
Zool.
Yeah, you know what I mean? With Sigourney Weaver and what Rick Moranis, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I was terrified. Like I literally, there was about a month I couldn't sleep after that. And I've never, and like they put me off. Put me off for life. Too active an imagination, unfortunately, yeah.
When I was 6 and 7, I know it might sound terrible, but I was laughing my head off watching out Chucky films and out scary movies.
Yeah, you're wrong.
My mum weren't letting me watch
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
when we used to go around my mum's mates, we used to go into drawers and get all these films basically something we watched.
Yeah.
We used to watch Scream, Chucky. We used to find them
Chucky, yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah.
And then we watched all the American Pies as well.
Okay,
So,
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I could handle that. That was about my level of horror. I can handle, yeah.
And sort of American Pies. But wait a minute, how do we get onto this? We're on about
music.
moshers.
Yeah, that's it, mate. That's free
And then you've got
flowing.
onto pies. Straight away.
Straight away.
Bolton, innit?
It's gonna be a
Fucking straight
gonna be a
into
good
pies.
episode.
Yeah.
This.
Yeah.
But
Pie chart.
yeah. So, how did you get into drum and bass then? Well,
How did you get
Both
to being an
of you,
agent?
yeah.
Yeah. Drum and bass and being an agent.
Bit of a story. Do you want the real story, or do you want the sort of
lies.
like sugar coated, not get fired from work story?
a bit of both.
Yeah.
Maybe meet somewhere in the middle.
So basically, I wasn't great at school, as some people aren't. So there is hope for a lot of people out there.
Yeah.
Could be Danny from Earth
did
Still
Agency.
become a billionaire.
Yeah. Wasn't great at school. Didn't listen. Had a horrendous attention span. Wasn't really ever like into anything other than music, and like riding bikes and usual sort of young teenager stuff. And then I kind of just had that, you know, where you just get obsessed with something and then you just have another obsession and then you have another obsession. It's like, I want to do art and then shit. What I do, that's shit. Blah, blah, blah. I said that forever. And then I just got into drug dealing. And then, not the harder end of things, the more softer end of things. And then, and that's how I met Rich. And then
you were the head honcho.
And basically, me and a good friend of mine used to do what we were doing for a living, and then quite a few DJs and producers and whatnot would like ring us up for our wares, and then we just ended up becoming friends, and then and that's how basically I met Rich, and then Rich invited me down to Hit and Run in like one of the early days, and then we just sort of bonded and become friends, and we spend time together, and then what I think the thing that I've always sort of what's always carried, I wouldn't say carried me through life, but something that's always sort of put a bit of wind in my sail is spend time with people who are obviously always try and find good people, always try and find good, honest people.
Oh yeah.
But it's whoever, if you throw yourself in the mix and you've got a good friendship group and you're around creatives and you're around intelligent people and smart people and people that are going to accelerate you and people like you said are going to bring you up. And when I met Rich, like I lost my brother when I was 18, and Rich kind of become sort of like my new big brother. Like Rich is younger than me, but he's very, very mature, very smart, very intelligent. And I think what happened is then Rich lived in Manchester. Like now he's just streetwise road gangster. Do you know what I mean? But at the time, I think it was the element of me being who I was and doing what I did, and Rich being who he was. And then when it come together, it was like the ultimate force.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it was like when Hit and Run started. So it was really early days. So I used to live with an Irish DJ called Andro. And he initially
was he a drum and bass DJ?
No, so he was actually like a techno electro guy. Yeah.
Insanely talented guy.
He ended up, he's in this big group called A&D, and they've done really, really well. But it was more like we sort of got on as friends and loved the music. We'd have decks set up in the house and whatever. But yeah, Danny started to come around. But this was just as Hit and Run started, because I lived in Manchester. I moved here 2004. And then I did a music course, and basically during uni, my parents were like, look, you clearly don't want to be like, do your uni degree, but if you sort of stick through it and get through it, we'll help you go up and do this 6-month course in Manchester. And so I was knuckled down my third year, got my 2-1, whatever, and then moved up here. And then after 6 months, but I wanted to feel that I'd sort of like got, before I started the night, you'd sort of like part of the community, because that's, we were talking about before, you need to know people. And so I ended up DJing. So I started off flyering at Sankey's, actually. And they kept on firing me all the time, but rehiring me because I was always late, but I was always like good at my job. But anyway, so I sort of got into there, and then they sort of found out I was a DJ, and they started this night called Ape. And they had a few different residents at the time. But they were like, look, we want one resident who's can sort of like DJ before like a hip hop act or a garage act or a drum and bass act, whatever. So I did a mixtape, and I ended up give Sam, who runs a warehouse project now, him and Lee gave me the job. And then obviously when Sasha went his own way from Sankey's start warehouse project, they were like, well, do you want to come, and say, well, you want to be resident Sankey's, come be resident warehouse project. So I played the first ever set at the warehouse project for Chuck D in 2006.
That's sick.
And around that time, I was DJing at a club called Poonana
I remember
the
that
time. And basically, there were Poonanars in like Oxford and Cambridge, and I used to play at those. And when I moved up here, like their area manager was like, look, there's this like kid, you should give him a go. And they started giving me, and it caused a bit of controversy because I was like the first new resident there for about 10 years, and there was all like the old, some of whom I'm friends with now, like the older DJs, like who's this like southerner, getting our gigs. And then anyway, they used to have a night there every night of the week, apart from a Monday. And they're like, look, we need to have like a night on Mondays. We've got one Tuesday to Sunday. And I was like, well, okay, well, maybe this is the time. And I was like, the only thing is that sound is really important. And I don't think the sound system's good enough at Poonana. And they were like, okay, we'll go 50-50 on the sound system with you. So I paid 75, they paid 75. And we used to bring a rig.
Those were the days,
I remember those
rig
days.
for 150 quid. Jesus Christ.
And
I even get 4 chicken breasts for that.
I can't even get just a sub for that now.
No, exactly. So that started off, and every Monday... And then basically we started Hit and Run, and Hit and Run was something we had been started in Oxford and with Riz and all that lot. And then when we started, we were like, well, I've already got a sort of, and that was still going on in Oxford at the time. We were like, we've got a ready-made brand and look and stuff. So we started every Monday, and then a couple in, Ton Piper started turning up, and he was like, I want to be resident. And I was like, brilliant, because Ton was, was by far the most high-profile Manchester MC at the time.
Yeah.
And then, but then Danny, she started to help out on the door. And he used to just come down because he sort of, do you know what I mean? But he was really hot. And then over time, Danny became like more and more, involved, sort of became my sort of right-hand man. And then I think going back to how you became an agent, we then started an agency together. And that's quite a kind of good, so we had like Biome and Indigo and Synchro and Chunky, maybe Strats for a while as well on that.
I didn't know you were an agent.
Yeah, that came a little bit later. Strats.
Yeah, that was probably like 3 or 4 years into doing Hit and Run.
Dealing drugs to dealing talent.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the same economics, same for economics, though. You know what I mean? Works the same.
Yeah. So we did that together. And it was called, I used to have another night called Strange Fruit.
Strange Fruit, yeah.
Which I used to run with like Indigo and Synchro. And, we used to have people like Ben.
That was more kind of like the future garage stuff, kind of like moving into kind of a bit like what Hessel was doing and like Hyperdub and that kind of. So
we had people like Blue Daisy, who's now Quez Darko, who makes all the stuff for, what's he called?
Slow Tie.
Yeah, and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I did a back-to-back with Ben UFO, which we wouldn't find difficult to believe. But anyway, we did that for a while. And then basically Danny took more of the lead on that. And then he started doing really well. And the thing is like the talent that he had, other agents were starting to come and try and poach them off him. And they were like, we were just like an email, basically.
Yeah.
And then, so Danny used to take lead and we'd sort of discuss things, and Chunky's doing really well and stuff. And then these agents kept on trying to like pinch his talent. And they all used to go like, well, no, I'm going to be loyal to Danny and Rich. And they were like, why are they doing that? I think largely it was because we took 0% commission. I think that was a big thing to it. But anyway, because this kept on happening, they were like, this agency were like, well, there must be something about these guys. So they invited us down for a meeting, and we sort of blagged it. And I sort of wrote, I remember I had to sort of wrote this letter, but they were like, look, there's 2 of you, but we can only just take on 1 person. And so I was like, look, Danny, you go and do the agency thing, and I'll do more of the promotion thing.
Yeah.
And so we've always worked, even like to this day now. I mean, like Danny definitely doesn't need any of my advice or help to do his job. He does it very well without me. But we still, I think people don't realize about the music game. There's like so much politics and difficult sort of situations to, he's a very good sounding board for that. You know what I mean? And we try and to try and negotiate our ways, because we are both a pair of chances, do you know what I mean? But that's kind of been that dynamic. So Danny, has taken a bit more step back. But to be fair to play to him, I mean, we're talking about flyering earlier. We both used to, we don't do it as much now. Now I sort of pick my moments with flyering. But like we used to be out like every almost sort of like 3-4 nights a week till 4 in the morning, and go and have an Almadina.
But it's like that. It's like that 50 Cent album. Do you know what I mean? Like, get rich or die flying. You know what I mean? Like, you got to get out of that life. But that's where everyone starts. But there's another there's a very hyper successful agent who's a very, very close friend of mine, a guy called Max Lee, who's got huge drum and bass roster, huge big bass and live roster. And Max is the same. He was at he's originally from London. He was at Leeds Uni, and he just come from the flyer trenches. Do you know what I mean? But that's where you learn everything. That's where you meet everyone and you learn everyone. You learn everything. And this is the thing with like dance music, with just sort of music in general, where it's music, art, fashion, culture, any kind of like subculture, what you want to get into, like you can't break into it. Do you know what I mean? You can't it's like, you've been doing what you've been doing for years. everyone's like cut the teeth in what they're doing, but you can't just smash your way in. You've got to go in the trench and get your hands dirty. Do you know what I mean? And you've got to build something from nothing. You can't just step in there and go, right, I'm here now, everyone come and work with me and blah, blah, blah. It just doesn't work like that. Do you know what I mean? You've got to go on a journey with people.
That's how I actually got to meet a lot of people, including Rich. I used to sell tickets for loads and loads of promoters. And I was getting on to Rich because it was the first time I actually went to Edit and Run night, and it was when you had a Caliber with a Bassman, Trigger, and Spider. And Rich is there in his blaze, and I was going, there's not many people from Bolton at this rave yet. We're only around the corner. I said, you need to get all these local towns in. He was going, you make a good point here. He said, he called me a cheeky chap because I was saying about how you need to get a lot of the locals in. And then, because I wasn't even thinking of DJing back then, I was actually, how old was I? I might have only been 17 then, but obviously I've always... I've had a beard since I was about 14, so... I've never really been ID'd anyway.
Can I say that was the club's responsibility?
I was either 17 or 18, something like that anyway. But that's another reason why I used to sell loads of tickets for events, because then I used to get in before everyone else, so no one would even question it.
I think, right, okay, I see that, but I think the point that you made is like people kind of say like, why, how do you get into it? And I just say that there's like, I want to feel that what hit, and especially like drum and bass, I'm very like a bit of a Victor Meldrew grumpy old man about like what I do like and what I don't like, because I've listened to so much of it, and I think like drum and bass is such a broad genre. So I want people to know that they come, and if I do see people there or supporting it, I am more likely to give them a gig. The other way to do it is by being a producer or like a sort of really talented DJ. But yeah, it does make a big difference. I think just being like,
the effort.
To know, people that just hit you up randomly, and it's just like, well, clearly haven't even been before. It's difficult unless you're making amazing music. And I don't really care how many plays you've got if I listen to your music. I think it's good.
As well,
I think it's got longevity and potential. Then, but I don't care if you've got 50 plays or 50,000. It doesn't matter.
It's got to fit the night.
But yeah, that is a good way to get. And that's how I did it. It's like, I was just around Sankey's, being there, sort of helping out, and then because you're sort of face, and an opportunity comes out, they go like, oh, well, he's about, and he's sort of supporting the cause. So I mean, again, like people that really help, and I'd say this, we're all promoters. If you see a flyer, it takes 2 seconds to share it to your story. Just do it, like cumulative effect of the thing, it is like so helpful. So the people that are sort of, you feel are supporting the cause, you are going to naturally feel better disposed towards them. I do take issue with you saying that there's always been locals at Hit and Run.
No.
Bolton,
but that's what I mean. That's how I because I just wanted to try and sell tickets for you.
Yeah.
That's all it was, because I thought this is a sick night.
No, but you just got to respect the hustle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Do you know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying.
Do you know what I mean? I'm a salesman. Do you know what I mean? I was speaking to Rich, and I thought, I'm speaking to Ed Oncho here. I've got to try impress him with a few numbers. I was dropping. I sold loads of Park Life tickets, and he went, yeah, you sell tickets. But because a lot of people from Bolton, they're jump up mad. Whereas Hit and Run is not jump up. Like you have done the odd like collaboration and stuff, but that's why I was trying to get a lot of people from Bolton to there's a lot more to drum and bass than just jump up.
Isn't Skiddle originally from Bolton?
No, Preston.
Is it Preston? Yeah. Well, they better watch their back.
But
shifted them tickets.
Sebel.
Yeah, come on, girl. Now we're sucking diesel. That's the thing. I get a lot of people, because Rich actually gave me my first set as well, and I was buzzing for that because Rich was the last person I was selling tickets for. I sold for Warehouse Project, I sold for loads and loads of big events, and Rich was the last one I was selling for. Sold probably the least amount in total, and yet he was the first one to give me a gig, because he said, get yourself on some proper decks, show me what you like mixing. And he said, I trust you. And straight away he did, and I was buzzing with it. And then a lot of people said, oh, how have you got on it and run? I said, well, I've probably been every event there for the past like 2 or 3 years. I said, if you want to get on somewhere, you've got to meet them and speak to them. I said, don't just get someone to refer you, go out and meet them. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's how a lot of the time with Bolton FM, I've got a lot of the guests on. A lot of the time when I've been at Hit and Run, because you see everyone. Because obviously all the DJs and MCs in Manny like go in it and run.
Yeah, no, that's it. And when it's like touching back on like over like I work with Jade, who's a Bolton native.
Great leader as well. Yeah, Come on, proper Bolton BL3.
And you know, and it's like with Jade Louise, you know, Jade's one of those people of that same ilk where, you know, for years, like I've worked with Jade for a good few years now, and she's been coming to every single show. Yeah. Like you go to a drum and bass rave in Manchester, you go to a drum and bass rave in Birmingham. If you go to one in like all the satellite towns, Jade's there. She's sharing the promo, blah blah blah. And this is the thing.
She's super positive as well. Her and Yaz and Tyler, their wigman, they're all. You know, that's another thing, is just be enthusiastic. And there's a lot of people in the scene, and the people go like, oh, I find them annoying. But I always love enthusiasts, because I think that's what life's about. And if someone's enthusiastic, I have a soft spot for them.
Yeah, but then that's how you know, and that's how people make it. And you know, when it's like you was, you know, like we sort of said it off air before, if we're even on air, you know, about like Jade getting a bit of hate on a mix, and you're not even mixing in this that, and the other, and it's like nonsense. This girl, like lives and breathes drum and bass.
She's such a
sick, do you know what I mean? Like
it's
just absolutely lives and breathes it. Like I said, if you go to any event, she's there from the start. I've got to Warehouse Project, and sometimes I look at the lineup and I go, because I've got artists playing, and I go obviously because I'm interested in it, and this is what we do. And I just think, okay, it starts at 9. Just have me tea. Do you know what I mean?
It starts at 8.
Yeah. And like I'll get there, and sometimes I get there because I've got to be there. Yeah. And Jade's there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you doing here? She's like, I'm like, what time are you playing? Oh, I'm playing 2 till 3. And I'm like, 7:30. What are you doing? And she's just there chomping at the bit with vodka in her hand, like, let's go. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And that's it.
That's what it's about.
But it's like with anything, and that's where the success comes from. Because it's like with anything, if you love it,
you got to be there. You got to get
you just got, and that's all you want to do. Then that's just what you'll do.
It drives me mad when you get people moaning on Facebook. Oh, I've not been booked for this. Oh, I've made 1,000 tunes. I'm not getting anywhere. Well, you've got to get yourself out there. I said, there's all good posting your tunes to Spotify every week. But it's not going to work. But then
you get them people who you know do all them Facebook status. Made 15 tunes this week. Yeah, they're all shit. Made 15 tunes in a week. They're going to be shit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Get yourself out there.
Yeah, and I think the other thing as well is like when people have that, like, one thing that's like a mega turn off for me is when people have like negativity towards other people.
Yeah. Other people doing
well. And like
you're
saying, is these certain, you know, there's certain like plethoras of drum and bass that aren't my thing. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not like adverse to it. I'm not like, oh, that's what blah blah blah. But I like
everyone has a taste.
Yeah, that's it. And the thing is I could go into an event and the music that's playing is not for me, and I look at the crowd and everyone's having a good time. The DJ's having a good time. It's good vibes, and it's just like, good on you. Do you know what I mean? And I think that in every aspect of life, you've just got to be happy for people. And like sometimes, like my mate's like worked his ass off and he's like super successful. And he's got a new car, and then people are texting me. It's like, fuck off. Do you know what I mean? Guys worked hard, wants a nice new car, got a nice new car. Just be happy for him. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
That's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah, I do think that way too many people. I try not to ever put anything like negative, or maybe like when it comes to politics a bit different. But there's no point like sort of saying, just celebrate the things that you do love. And as you say, like Jump Up is my cup of tea. But I remember like years ago, sort of probably 2013 or whatever, so I did a few shows like when Skrillex came over and was like warming up for him or whatever. Did one at Sound Control, and that crowd, it's like not often like that's a really heavy, that really like screechy dubstep, but they come in at 11 and they stay till 4.
Yeah.
And no, you know what I mean? And there's like so much sort of like wholesome,
kind of vibe,
wholesome energy, and I love that. And I say that with my kids. I don't care what music into, as long as they're into something that's theirs. Right? Do you know what I mean? As long as they're passionate about some sort of music, I don't care whether it's they're moshers or even like. But,
they come up and say, "That's it, Mozart. That's it."
Mate,
that's
down, mate. Yeah, that's what I was raised on. Yeah.
Let's talk about Levelz. What did you do in Levelz? Like, what was?
I mean, I was sort of. I mean, the thing is with them,
talking
because there were so many leaders in the group.
I said I had a read earlier. There were like 14 people.
Yeah, 14. So like, I was sort of the manager, but it was different. You know, I definitely wasn't like definitely wasn't my way or the highway sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, coming up to sort of 10 years now since we dropped the first single. And it was a sort of very difficult but very beautiful project at the same time. When it worked, it was really great, and we're still all close and have friends. But I mean, I remember, you know, Danny, when I was talking about it at the time, he was like, "Oh God, you know, it'll never work." And I think like
chaos,
yeah,
absolute chaos.
14 people,
just like
multi-genre.
Yeah, but the thing is as well, right? And it's like I used to say when Richard like called me up like ripping his hair out. Do you know what I mean? I'm all right for that. He's all right. He's made me rip mine out already. Yeah. So, but you know, if you sort of like dig beneath the surface of like what it is and what it was about, is there was so many like layers to it, like creatively, like the music was amazing. There's so many like big personalities involved, who, you know, have got their own creative processes, have got their own lives, got their own commitments, doing it. So just getting those people together was just a mean feat anyway. Yeah. But I think like the beauty of it, and when you listen to the music now, when you think back, like at the time it was all just like a whirlwind. Yeah. And then when you listen to the music now, you actually think, how the fuck did you even make this happen? Yeah. But then the beauty behind it is then, you know, is you've got people like Fox, who's been round the block, and like, you know, Chimpo, blah blah blah, who's been round the block a million times, you know, released on every label under the sun. You know, they're the very mature artists who have sort of moved into their lane, and this is what I do now, and blah, you know, and they're very secure in that space, and very successful in that space. And then you know, then you've got people like Black Josh, who's just a absolute chaotic whirlwind madman, unbelievably talented. Then you've got T-Man, Chunky, blah blah blah, and it was the fact that he got all together of people from different generations, different ages, blah blah blah, and made such a incredible album. But like I was saying, is, you know, you're just riding the lightning, man. You know what I mean? Like you do making 2 records, 3 records, or keeping that going as like a long-term thing. Yeah,
and there was loads of things. I mean, as you said, like, you know, because, you know, I've got to take the most responsibility for it not working, because I put myself in that position. And, you know, but I think, you know, we all had our part to play for it working, and us all our part to play for it not working. And obviously there is like sort of regret there, and loads of, you know, I think mostly about what I could have done better. You know, because I did, you know, some things right, and, you know, I did a lot of things wrong as well. But fortunately, like, we do every bit of art, both, or, you know, as in musically and visually, I'm really, really proud of. And, you know, and they never got like the plays that, you know, I think we would have liked to, or you know, I certainly think the lads deserved. But, like, you know, as art, it still like stands up as you know, test of time. And I really, like, you can't do much more than that. And, you know, and we, you know, we had like so many amazing experiences, and this would happen time and time again, like getting them to a festival or, you know, whatever, would just be like, I mean, I'd be almost dead by the time we got there. Do you know what I mean? And you know, and then, but there were so many times when you got them all on stage, and they would create like this sort of amazing. It was a magic, you know. Yeah. And I'd always say that I've booked a lot of MCs. I mean, I've always tried to be very loyal to the Manchester ones, because I think they're so talented. But, like, you know, I've booked plenty of London MCs, and they'll do a set for like 20, 30 minutes, and they've run out of bowels, they've run out of gas, they want to like go to the green room again. Yeah. Whereas like our lot, like, you know, especially someone like Chunky, he'd start on, you know, we might do like 10 till 4 or 9 till 4. He'd be like the first on the mic, and he still, do you know what I mean? They had like no. We did one of those Target takeovers, which is one of my like favorite moments, and they had to like go. Usually, like, people come and do half an hour. Like, we did an hour, and then they were like, "You're gonna have to stop now." Do you know what I mean? And it'd been like relentless bars.
It only just warmed up.
Exactly. But then that was it. It was. But the other thing as well is these were people who were close. Yeah. But they don't live together. They're not in the studio together all the time, and the synergy as artists. Yeah. like was just ridiculous. And to have that many people, like, and this might, you know, I'm not like inflating it in any way, but like the only other thing you could compare it to is like the Wu-Tang, where you had that many people who were that talented. But then I think from like with your industry hat on, and the thing for me, and one thing that was difficult is, like I said, is you were going into the realms of like established artists who had been in the industry for a long time and had show commitments, record commitments, label commitments, and then there's the other end of the level spectrum of people who were, you know, pretty new and had a lot more time and a lot more time to commit. And then one thing then is, then you've then got these people then making financial sacrifices to go, right, okay, well, I can't go and do that gig in Belgium because I'm going to go and do this with the boys. Do you know what I mean?
And it was very idealistic in the way that, you know, like, you know, I'm going to be honest, you know, I got 10% and then everything else was split equally. And then, you know, the other thing as well was, you know, we had a lot of meetings about it, but we decided that all the music with royalties were going to be like split equally as well. And I was actually like against that, you know, and actually that it served me well because I didn't do much of the music. Do you know what I mean? But I still got that split. But I actually thought it would be better. But, you know, it was so idealistic. And again, that's like a difficult thing, you know. But as you say, you know, wish we'd sort of made more music, but at least what we did. And again, I think this goes back to kind of like how I feel about promoting is, you know, if you're trying to make a moment in time that is a sort of piece of art in itself, and that's an incredibly pretentious way of talking about it, but you're trying to create a moment that and ironically, people often don't remember your nights, you know, when you go to them, but you're trying to create a feeling that it's indivisible and of its time, and create a scenario where people don't think, oh, if I don't go that tonight, I'll never be able to see that combination of back-to-backs or with MCs, you know, so trying to be something beautiful. And I think as well, like, I think there was a time where, you know, when we were doing like the street parties and all these crazy, you know, it was like a moment in time. It was a good time. And I think that's those kind of memories of what we made, you know, that hopefully that will be something that has, you know, at least at least to people. Because
I do that every day. Yeah, pretty much.
Do you remember all the names from Levelz? Everyone's name. All 14 of it. Go on then. Go on, let's have it.
Right, Biome, Black Joss, Chunky Chimpo,
Skittles, T-Man.
I'm trying to do it in alphabetical order.
Go on,
right. Bricks, Biome, Black Josh, Chimpo, Chunky, Fox, Metrodome, Spark, Skittles, Rich Reason, Truthos Mufasa, T-Man,
Johnny Dub.
One more. That's 13.
14.
Is it 14?
14,
Oh, right, sorry. Right. Nice.
That's crazy. That's 14 people together.
And Vintage Nick, because I think Vintage Nick, because he put some serious skin in the game, mate, driving.
Yeah, God bless him.
I probably died nearly 100 times.
yeah, for sure. No, and that's the thing, is it's kind of like together.
Dub Physics.
Dub Physics as well. Yeah. Sorry, George. It's like the together, you know, I have a very good relationship with all of them. Do you know what I mean? But just some, you know, like, you know, see, sometimes you can love people, but it doesn't, you know, it doesn't work out professionally or whatever. But we still, you know, I have a relationship with all of them, you know.
Yeah.
So brothers for life.
The culture's changed a lot recently as well with MCs. With me, I've always been although I don't necessarily play any jump up myself, I've always loved when jump up MCs, like we hear them bouncing off each other. Obviously, in recent years, you see more your X-Man and Evil B bouncing off each other like Problem Central. But culture's changing a lot. There's a lot of people now you see constantly popping up. Oh, do people like an MC, or do people want an host? And then like Evil B, obviously now he goes more for B Live because that's more his hosting persona. Whereas I don't think. As good as
the Americans are saying it. That's what it is.
Well, you don't really see groups of MCs as much anymore on stage. A lot of the time now it is normally just your one MC.
I mean, maybe that's
in a lot more common events.
Yeah, maybe that. I mean, that kind of collective thing's more sort of like almost like from grime.
Yeah, it's like a genre. Yeah.
But like for me, like I've never really like jump up's never really been my thing. Like these, you know, these some of it that I like. There's some certain artists, certain tunes that I like. Blah blah blah. But one my guilty pleasure was always like storming, Harry Shotter, like the SAS stuff, and not like, you know, like I said, I'm not like a massive fan of just hearing the music, but you know, or like what they're playing, what the DJ's playing, but just the energy and you know, and like I said, you know, using a buzzword again, like the synergy of it was unbelievable. But like storming was just like next level. But then when you, but him and Harry Shotter was such polar opposites, but then it also, when it comes together, it was just unbelievable, you know, and all of them as a collective.
Skibbity and Shabbity.
Yeah, you know, and it was just
that original kind of jungle MC.
Yeah, and that's it. And it's just, you know, when like Harry Shotter's like your bars man, you know, then you've Storming's like your big hype man, and then, you know, and the other two, and it was, you know, and that's it. But the thing with that, and this is the thing when it comes to live music and DJing and is it just gives it like a whole new element. It's a show. You know what I mean? You go and see it and it's a show. The production's wicked, the tunes are wicked, what they do. And it's a
whole culture as well.
But the thing is as well is like I was chatting to Harry Shotter, like when I seen him at Warehouse Projects like in autumn last year, we was having a bit of a chat and stuff. And you know, like, imagine how many shows that guy's played. Yeah, like, ridiculous. How many festivals he's played, how many club shows he's played, blah, blah, blah. And he stood at the side of the stage, and I think Skepsis was on at the time. Mate, and the guy's chomping at the bit. The guy's, like, stood at the railing at the side of the stage, and the guy's,
chomping
like...
at the bit.
But he's, like, he's, like, vibing off the music, and he's vibing off the crowd, but he's, like, get me on there. Do you know what I mean? Like, get me on there now. Like, give me that mic and let me on there now and let me loose. But like I said, and to still have that like energy and still have like want it like that, like there's not many people out there.
Yeah, it's not. But that's, you don't really see the groups of MCs anywhere near as much anymore, and I used to love it, me. But that's what
broken
I like. Do you know what? That's
Broken English, man.
Yeah. This is what I actually again we're hit and run, because a lot of the time you'll just say it's hosted by, like, you got a T-Man, Tamani, and then they just kind of float about throughout the night. Yeah. And then if a certain set's going off, you might hear all three of them just start going off. And I don't know, that I just don't feel like you're going to see it as much anymore. Because obviously the way DJs play has changed a lot. Obviously with the likes of Headaches and Boo have absolutely smashed it. Because when I started going out, you used to be able to book them for like 50 quid each.
Yeah.
I don't even be able to book a Zoom call with them for that these days.
No, not at all, mate. No, but that's the thing. But you know,
it's just completely changed.
And that's it. But the thing with like your Boos and your Headexes and these new guys that have come through, you know, But the thing is they do what they've like made their own lane.
Yeah.
They're wicked collaborators. They've not, you know, and it's like with, you know, Boo's a lovely guy. See Jack Headaches all the time in town, in Manchester. Lovely guys. And you just got to give them the flowers, because at the end of the day,
they've done it their own way.
But here's but the other thing as well is people look at these young guys and they look at the success and they, well, you're getting all this money now and you're doing this and you're doing that. Imagine, right? Like I said, we're very close friends with like a lot of producers and whatnot. And it's like, I sit in front of a laptop all day, sending emails, contracts, invoices, blah, 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 Zoom calls, this, that, and the other. And then I go home, go to the gym, come back, have my dinner, and then I do like another 3-4 hours on emails. And I do that day in, day out. And I do that so that when it comes to weekend, I can like go and have a weekend and get off my head or go and do whatever and not have to worry about anything. But when it comes, like, I'm not creative. Do you know what I mean? It's like if you deliver something to me or you go, right, here's my music, this is what I do, blah, blah, blah. I can just grab it, run with it and go and get you what you want and get you what you want and deliver on what you need me to deliver on and more. But people don't understand, like, from these people from the outside looking in. Never mind a studio, imagine the hours these guys have sat at a computer, whether it's some dusty old shit thing before they had money, you know.
Put the graft in.
And they've just grafted and that's the thing with all these people on Instagram and the keyboard warriors that jump in a comment, it's all right for you, because it's like, it's not.
It's absolutely.
Do you know what I mean?
And it's the hardest apprenticeship of any genre. I've fallen out with the people, but to get to a level that you're making release quality drum and bass, you have to be both an artist and a scientist and taking it.
Live and
I fucking
breathe
know. I'm
No,
doing
exactly.
it. I'm still trying to do it. And I'm
but
41.
No, but
You know
the
what I mean?
other thing as well is to go from being a bedroom producer to a circuit club DJ to a top line headline DJ, yeah, to someone that's collaborating with massive international scale artists, yeah, and not just maintain it, but can keep growing that career.
Constant new
all
ideas,
the shows, all the pressure, everything. Still have a personal life, still maintain your friendship, still maintain your relationship, still spend time with your parents, and not completely fucking melt. It's just a testament to anyone. And then, but the thing is, as well, is no, but that's it. All the traveling that burns you out. I just come back from Texas, mate. I was fucking in a wheelchair for 2 weeks. Do you know what I mean? Well, I wasn't, but no. But then the thing is and we see like the positive side, and you see all the likes and the views and stuff like that. Yeah. But how many times are these guys opening their phones and going in the DMs, and it's like, you don't deserve this and blah blah blah, and and even though it's just a throwaway comment and it's just keyboard warriors or whatever, still,
it's always a negative comments that get in there.
You see it on the wrong day,
you know what I mean? And I'm mega hard, you know, but people can still like plant that seed of doubt in your mind. Do you know what I mean? And you've just got to be able to just like grasp through it. Do you know what I mean? And that's it. And
I talked a bit about this the other day. I think like because we're living in very pressurized times in general anyway, and I think it's I can find it myself, when you're a promoter, like the promoter versus agent thing is tale as old as time, but I've worked in enough different roles in the industry to sort of see it from everyone's point of view. And I think like actually like the problems are more structural and fundamental rather than this DJ is getting paid too much or whatever. I mean, so many, I've got a lot of producers in the city and from out, because I've been booking them for 15 years or whatever, that I count as friends. And I, loads of, won't say their names, but people that they think of like absolutely smashing it, they still have to have a job. Do you know what I mean? And people are, and as you say, like, let's say someone, I mean, to be honest, you're a high-level, mid-level DJ to be getting about £1,000 plus for a set,
Of course,
And but even just with the travelling time, maybe to go to Czechoslovakia, or if you're in London to go to Scotland, or Manchester, travel time alone, and the time you're away from your family or away from your partner, that probably takes you down to like almost like £50 an hour. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, you're thinking about the fact that you've had to spend years and years and years. Now, I've not become a producer. I've done a few records, but I have so much respect for the craft and how long it gets to get to a level of music that I'd be proud of. And I've realised that I'm actually like naturally a people person. I think basically to become a good producer, you have to be a hermit for like 10 years. Like you literally do. And I'm not built that way. And I think actually there's so much talent in Manchester. I'm better placed to be someone who is an outsider, who actually sees like, tries to create platforms for people and opportunities and link people. And all my family are just like people. My parents, like every Christmas, their house is covered in cards with people they've known from all over the world. Like, they have to like hang them up on those like fucking strings all around the house. And like my dad and my sister, my brother were all we just love people. So I think actually I'm a better fit as a promoter because you need to go out and meet people. And,
I think one of the other pressures as well, which is sort of as time goes, as we sort of move with the times, like everything goes in cycles, but the cycles get tighter and the cycles get shorter. Right. And it's like, like when you chat to your parents and you go, oh well, or you see like an old photograph of your parents and you go through your parents' record collection and you go, oh well, you was wearing that and listening to that. And it's like, yeah, but that was the 60s. And it's like, all right, well, you was wearing that shit and listening to that for 10 years. And it was like, well, what was you wearing here and what was you listening to it? Oh, well, that was the 70s. And we listened to this and we wore this for 10 years. Do you know what I mean? Now you've got like with Instagram and TikTok and blah, 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 the cycles of, because fashion, art and music all goes in hand. The cycles go so quick now. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like
the trends are just
the trends just change so quick, and then that's another pressure. But then the thing is if you spend 10 years sat in your house learning how to make a particular genre of music, and then by the time you're like, right, I'm ready now, and it's fucking gone, like, oh, man, I missed the boat. Do you know what I mean? But this is the beauty with Headaches and Boo and people like that, is like, because like Dave is like, it's just the sun, like the sun has just shone on them because they were making the music that they were making the music they love, and then as they emerged as artists, the music that they love and the music that they've been making had come into the sunlight, and all the stars have aligned, and it's like, right, well, this is your time. You know what I mean? And that's why these people have worked so hard, and that's why they've been so successful, because they've spent the time in the trenches, they've made the music, they've done all the things they need to do, and then it's like, right, now you've got to go out and play the game.
Pretty sure Headaches, I'm pretty sure he's been DJing like in clubs since you're about 14, 15. I'm sure his parents used to take him out to
I've seen videos
sets.
Of him playing like 10 years ago at least in like truck fest and stuff like that.
And like, that's how Andy C started off. He was getting taken around by his parents as well, and it's just
and he was like
so
50, when he wrote Valley of the Shadows, when he was like, you
even look at like
31 seconds, whatever it's called, when he was about 15, wasn't
fucking hell, really?
No, but Shy FX used to stand at the back door of clubs because he couldn't get in because he wasn't old enough.
Listen to his tunes.
And listen to all the DJs playing, like Randall and all them playing his music.
Mental.
And he'd be like that to the doorman, like, that's my tune. Like, no, it's
not.
Fucking hell.
I mean, he's like 14, 15. Yeah, it's mad.
We're living in tough times though as well, aren't we? I know you've addressed this issue a few times, Rich, in terms of obviously the cost of living crisis, the cost of going out. So you have these small club nights where a big drum and bass following now is coming massively mainstream because of like your Headaches and Boo. So then they'll turn up to, because obviously you don't really see Headaches and Boo in small venues anymore. So they'll go to a warehouse project where there's, I don't know, is it 10, 15,000 people
10
now?
12, yeah.
12,000, so majority of people will go to that night because they've got 3 different rooms on, and they've probably got every single DJ and MC you've been wanting to see all there. But then you get a small club night, you've got an headliner, and then a lot of the upcoming artists, and they don't necessarily want to spend the money there now. Not because they're not interested in the lineup, it's just because I can only afford to go out once this month. So I'm going to spend all my money going warehouse.
Times are hard, man.
And it's hard. And
it's tough. And that's it. But the thing is and I'm one of, there's a lot of people out there that'll like knock warehouse and go, oh, well, they've come in and they've done this and they've done that. No. But the thing is with warehouse, is whether you're into house, techno, drum and bass, whether you're into hip hop, whatever. No, but it is without it, they support a lot of local artists, they support a lot of local promoters, but they're bringing massive international acts to the city that might never come here. Do you know what I mean? 100%. And that's the thing. And it's like, Andy, and Chase and Status aren't going to, well, they might do in the next like year or so. They're not going to play the MEN. Do you know what I mean? If you want to go and see them, you've got to go see him at the warehouse project. But then the thing is that's not bad because you go in there and for dance music, it's like fucking Alton Towers. You know what I mean?
And also they're promoting to like the country and Europe in a way. Like because I've always played at it and I'm usually first on, right? So I'm going, like getting in a cab or driving to warehouse project as it starts. And outside Manchester Piccadilly,
they're just running out of the train station.
There are like people coming from on the train from Birmingham, all around the country.
Sheffield, Leeds, Liverpool, massive.
So it's
pull.
Like they're promoting to the wider thing, and I think as well with like the exclusivity things, like Danny could back you up, like. Every agent, if someone's playing somewhere, they want to make sure that there's like 2 or 3 months either side of them playing, so that shows as like good as possible.
Yeah,
and I think people want to kind of go straight into sort of booking, they want to go like, well, I love the music and I want to book this artist, so I should be allowed to. And it's like, actually, like what you want to do is build a small, Hit and Run didn't used to book for the first couple of years, didn't used to book, or book like one headliner a term, like logistics or scientific. We built up as a night for like young forward artists, and then because I brought people like Alex Perez or Lensman or Kazza to Manchester the first time, I've got that relationship with them. Do you know what I mean? But when I booked them, they were like 200, 300 quid or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Or James Blake or whatever, something. So you build
200, imagine.
Yeah, and we put, I remember as well, because we booked him. So it was Hit and Run's first birthday actually, and it had Alex Perez and Box Cutter was the lineup, and it was the Attic and Thirsty Scholar.
Yeah.
And I remember it was just like, it was just as sort of Hit and Run was getting sort of really popular for the first time, and I had Marcus Intellects stuck outside, and the bouncers were like, you can't come in, it's like too busy. And basically Marcus was the reason I moved to Manchester along with Mr. Scruff, because I loved Solar so much. You know what I mean? I was the tournament, I was like, you gotta let him in, please let him in, please. You know what I mean? And Marcus, gracious as he was just like, not, you know, like, not us, I'll just wait here for like 5 minutes, you know what I mean? Because it was like chaos outside. But Alex at that time was releasing on Solar and stuff. And so, yeah, and then after a few minutes, you managed to get him in. He was laughing. But yeah, I think like people, when I do, you know, these talks at BIM or whatever, shout out Kojo, you know, I say to people too worried about like importing a crowd through an artist. It's like, build something with your peers first. Yeah. And once you've got something that's popping, then the artists that you look up to, they want to come and play your thing, because they want to stay relevant in the new generation. Yeah,
but it's about like building a community first, and then people want to be around. But then the thing is like the difference between like going to Hit and Run and going to Warehouse Project is you go to Hit and Run and you know everyone. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And everyone's chatting and blah blah blah. And the thing with Warehouse is it's not that it's not a social place.
No,
it's just there's that many people there, and the venue's that big, and there's that much going on, and the production is on a whole new level.
Try and find the people you know.
You know that's you're not the chances of you bumping into people, you know what I mean, unless you're massively popular like myself and you know Rich and stuff like that, you know. But but you know what I'm saying. But it's better to just build a community and people to come and enjoy that community. But it's like I was saying as well, is if you've got someone that's coming every week to your events and you know they're a DJ, and then they get a set. You know what I mean? And because they, you know, they come in, they're committing, you become part of that community, and like I said, you get all these people that are all angry. I don't get any bookings. I don't get this. I don't get that. It's like because you don't get involved. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
And I think
if you're not involved.
I've just sort of like thought. Yeah, you're right. I think something I've just thought about is I think one of the problems is like, you want to have, it's just in the same way as, you know, they've built that Co-op Live, or, you know, or even the what's it called, the Aviva, you know, these huge venues. And it's great that we, like, you know, I'm up for all venues, but you need the whole ecosystem. You know what I mean? Like, HeadX didn't start off playing to 10,000 people. He started off probably playing to 50 people.
Yeah, in Wigan.
And you know,
for nothing.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
And you need that whole ecosystem and to incubate these like new ideas and sounds and stuff. And I think like, really, it's the problem is I think people even realize that. I mean, people live and breathe drum and bass and dubstep, so they are really passionate about, like, you know, small things. But unfortunately, like, they would go to both, but because let's say they've got, like, you know, £100 every other month now to go out, they're going to go. I'm going to go to the guaranteed big thing. But it's just like, that's not Warehouse Project's fault. That is like something way bigger than drum and bass.
But one thing I'll always say about the Warehouse as well, is Warehouse Project used to just be like 1 or 2 big rooms, and now it's bigger. That, you know, the running times are longer. They've got to book more artists. You've got your big hitter stuff in the depot. You've got, you know, other big hitter, and blah blah blah. But obviously, like I said, is if you're running from say 8 p.m. till 4 a.m. you got to book a lot of acts. You got to have a lot of variety. And what you're finding is you know, the top tier promoters and the, you know, and the people that work for them, you know, like that, they're plugged in and they know what's what and they know who's who. And that's when they start moving into the realms of what me and Rich are booking and what other people, you know, other techno and house, you know, the smaller independent house promoters are booking. But one thing I'll always say about them is, obviously, you know, as an agent, there's exclusivity. If you play in a certain city, blah, blah, blah. And I've had situations where I've got one of my artists who's got an amazing set time, a very modest fee from Warehouse Project, a great set time, great billing. The game has been played. They've dotted the I's, they've crossed the T's. And then I've been offered that artist, you know, I've then got another show for that artist in Manchester, what I can't take because they're playing the Warehouse Project. And I've reached out to the Warehouse Project and just gone, listen, I've got an offer, blah, blah, blah. It's playing for this independent promoter in this venue. And he just turned around to me and go, Danny, we're sold out. Just do it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Just do it. And he's like, we're not going to take food up. You know, we're not going to take food off someone's plate. And he's like, we're sold out. It's not going to affect our business in any way, shape or form. Just go and do it.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
They've always been really good to me and
But
really looked at it like after me. I think people don't understand that that's how like the game is structured. And I think people, if you build something, they'll come and work with you and look up, you know, do you know what I mean? But it's just, I think people just think like, oh, I need to be able to book, you know, but you know, like let's say Boo, for example. But like Boo is, you know, worked with other promoters for years that have like, you know, paid him. Like, of course, you know, his agent are going to be loyal to that. Do you know what I mean? You know, it's about finding that next generation and building with them. And with those sort of artists that I've had that relationship with, you know, they're kind of like, look, you know, they'll play for Hit and Run twice a year and play for Warehouse once a year. And it's kind of like we work around each other. Do you know what I mean? To be fine. But, you know, not every artist is going to be loyal to you, but enough have been that, you know, that it means that I
tried to get my artists to play Warehouse twice a year and Hit and Run once a year.
yeah.
Got to pay the bills.
Which is surprising because my budgets are far larger.
Yeah.
Like.
No, but I think
it's not all about the money with Danny. Do you know what I mean?
But the other thing as well is like working as an agent, and you speak to a lot of agents from other agencies, you speak to a lot of artist managers, you speak to a lot of venues. But then the other thing as well is then you speak into a lot of people on the more commercial end of things, where you're chatting to companies who own and run. You know, you might chat to a company that have got 10 venues. Yeah. You know, when you're dealing with people like Broadwick who own, you know, they had the Printworks, they've got Drum Sheds, they own the Warehouse Project venue, Mayfield Depot. You know, they've got like Blackstone Warehouse in Liverpool, which is their biggest venue, where the big Scream and Banger, you know, where Boiler Room thing was and all that. And you know, and these are, you know, huge companies, but they're independent and they've been built from the ground up. You know, and these and people think like, oh well, they're sucking all the money out of the game, and it's like it's not, because like with everything you do, you got to speculate to accumulate. These guys have pumped millions into the infrastructure of these businesses. Yeah, you know, if you're getting 10,000 people into a venue, what you're paying on security, generators, toilets, bar staff, but how many jobs are they bringing into the city? Yeah. You know, and that's another thing that people need to think about. But then, you know, like one conversation I was having last week is like 38 independent UK festivals, and like look at the size of our country and how many key cities we have in this country. Yeah. Do you know, like out of like London, Birmingham, Manchester, Leeds, Sheffield, Newcastle, Brighton, like Liverpool, Brighton's just Blackpool with Gia Batters. Do you know what I mean? It's got like a couple of venues, but you know, it is classed as like a city. But the thing is, for 38 independent festivals who just gone, that will never come back. That's crazy. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That's massive.
And it is Mitch. We've got an industry that isn't, even though it's like the 5th largest, isn't kind of seen as that. And I think again, it's one of those problems because it's like so many small like cottage industries, you know what I mean, when we're not as like a unified voice and stuff like that, you know. But yeah, again, I just kind of think everyone's and not, you know, it's like, was it sort of rats in a cage or crab, you know what I mean?
Crabs in a bucket.
Everyone's like shouting at each other, and it's like that's not the problem. Do you know what I mean? It's just like when, you know, I'm really lucky. Like Hit and Run doesn't always make money, but it's always busy enough to be like a good night. You know what I mean? And I know, and people be quite shocked sometimes, be like, oh, you know, wow, it's really busy. Like, you know, I'll still be like, you know, $1 or $2 grand down or whatever, because you know it needs to be really busy. Yeah. You know, because the margins are so small. But I just think like, yeah, people would, you know, people when they go out and it's busy, they still love it. They're still like that kind of, they're passionate, and Manchester crowd's amazing because they're knowledgeable and they're up for a party. But it's just people are just having to be more and more selective about what they can do, because, you know, everyone's phone, you know, I mean, a bottle of olive oil, Tesco own olive oil. Oh my God. It's like £9.
Yeah, but I noticed how little of it is. Six quid.
No, but the thing is people think like when the rave's done 3 a.m, 4 a.m, you're like creeping out the back door with a big bag of gold, you know, and it's like, mate, I'm selling my fucking car in the morning. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, and that's so because you've had a good time.
That must take a toll on you mentally so much, man.
Yeah, and that's it. And it just, I mean, when my partner Yamina got pregnant, so that was like end of 2019. And I was just like, you kind of, it's time to self-assess. I was like, can I keep on doing this like crazy job where like I make $5,000 one month, lose 6 the next? Do you know what I mean? And it's just up and down. I've been very lucky that because I've always been a bar DJ, I still play in bars 3, 4, 5, 6 times a week, and that gives me a sort of base. But she was like, look, Rich, it's who you are. It's like what you're good at. Just like do it to your best of your ability. And lots of, so like since end of 2009 up until the pandemic, things were going really well. I did my first warehouse project with Noisia and stuff, and then obviously we had this and then we had like
15 he was. Start his head, freeze.
Yeah. All bought by me.
Selling tickets.
Danny sold me out drugs right now.
Yeah, exactly. But that was going really well, and then the pandemic, and actually the few years. But again, it's like every birthday. I've just had 17th birthday, and you just think like I'm still out there in all weathers, like flyering and postering and meeting people, and you don't realise. But I'm lucky that I've got that sort of base of like, but if I couldn't live off promoting.
Yeah,
like,
but because you love it, but you do it because you love it.
But if I only did all the bar sets, that would send me wild, because the feeling I get from putting on music that I love and
bar set ain't the same as in it and run night.
Exactly.
Well, that's it. But then the thing is as well is you've got to have to be successful at anything or to do anything. You've got to love it. Yeah, like you said, you've got to have a passion for it. But the thing with me, right, is I'm a bit of a weirdo, right? And I've got this thing. I've always at some point in my life, right, I can't live safe. I've got to take a risk all the time. I've got to have
hit deep.
Yeah, no, because basically, if you don't take a risk, if you just live a safe life, nothing ever happens, man.
Happens.
And you've got to take a risk, and you could take a risk, and that could fuck you up. Yeah. Or you could, but that same risk could change your life. Yeah. And in that like apex between like risk and reward, or like complete
if you don't try, you've already failed.
Failure. In that apex, that's where everything happens. But if you don't ever go there, nothing happens. You just sit on your sofa and watch telly.
He's right, but I am definitely ready to just sit on my sofa.
But the thing with me is, like I said, I sit behind a laptop. I don't take financial risks. But the thing with me is I work, or I can get out of bed whenever I want. I can do whatever I want. I've not got like some like Eye of Sauron. Oh, it's 10.
You've got a great company that you work
and I work with amazing people. But because everyone works in the same way and they work in the same dynamic, you have to motivate each other. But sometimes that's not enough, and you have to find motivators, on what my true motivator is and the thing that keeps me going. Because it's like, I could sit back and go, you know what, I'm all right now, I'm a bit old now, I'm not into that, I don't want to do this. And my motivator, the thing that makes me work hard, is when someone comes to me, or I go to someone and I go, I love your music, I love what you're doing, and these people are in the market, other agents want to work with them. It's not like, oh, Danny's come along and fucking pulled me out of the, you know what I mean? These people are in the market, and other agents, blah, blah, blah. And what it is for me is that if I approach an artist and an artist goes, right, I want to work with you, and me and you are going to do this thing together, right? My whole thing is, like I said, going back to what I was discussing before with like Headaches and Boo and things like that, these people, they've not just hatched out of a fucking egg and now they're a DJ. Do you know what I mean? These people have been dreaming about this shit for years. They've been making this music for years in the bedrooms, in the studios, going out doing jobs that they hate to go and buy decks and buy music equipment and this, that, and the other. And they've and now they've got to this point, and now this is the start of the journey. This is like the Frodo leaving the Shire,
Start of chapter 2.
And it's like, and they've entrusted me with everything that's ever happened before this moment. They've entrusted me to help them with it. So it's like, if I get lazy, or I don't want to pick up the phone, or I don't want to approach this promoter or whatever, then I'm just betraying their trust. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, so this is my whole thing. It's like, if you're not if I don't want to do it, and people get offended because a lot of people hit me up and they'll go, oh, well, you're not supporting the local artist. And it's like, well, I am. But if I'm not if I don't get that feeling in my stomach when I hear your music, and I'm not like completely sure, I won't do it. Because if I don't love it and I don't completely care about it, and if it doesn't motivate me, or I don't get that spark, I won't work hard on it. So you know, and that's it. And I have to love it, because if otherwise I just won't get motivated. I won't answer the phone.
Fair enough.
I won't, you know, and that's just me being honest, and that's just how it's got to be. Do you know what I mean?
That's wise, man.
And then every time you get that booking for someone, I don't think about the money. I don't think about commission or anything like that. I just know if I work hard, my rent will get paid and I'll be all right, and blah, blah, blah.
Talent will be buzzing as well.
No, but I don't get like, ooh, that's a good fee, or blah, blah, blah. If I get something that the artist wanted, or the artist, like, I've always wanted to play here, or I've always wanted to be on a lineup with this person, and I'll go and get it for him, that's the buzz. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think, to put that in the sort of promote world, I mean, like, one of the ironic things is a lot of my favourite shows are shows I've lost money on. And, like, you know, and it's like, because you actually, when you do that, there's actually a purity about it, because you're still coming away feeling positive about something, whereas, like, you know, on paper, like, you shouldn't, but actually sort of creating a special moment, or whether it's giving a platform. And, you know, and I am a sucker, you know, people are very, you know, say lots of very nice things to me at my nights, and, you know, obviously we've been going for a very, very long, you know, long time now. But that, you know, if, you know, I could have a much simpler life, less like DJing in bars 5 nights a week, and you know, but that's what you don't got to get the buzz off, you know.
But you're like me, Rich. You got to roll the dice, man. There's got to be some. There's got to be some risk. Do you know what I mean? You got
risk reason.
No, and that's the thing. But you know, and it's like with criminals. Yeah, that's why like you've got people who are loaded, who've like retired, you know, like career criminals, and they've retired, and then they go and do an armed blag at 60, and it's like they've not done it for the money, they've just done it because they can't leave it. Do you know what I mean? It's like they can't leave it out.
Who's the next big thing, Danny, on your agency?
Who's the next big thing? There's just so many next big things. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's exciting times at the minute. Have you got any personal favourites? Yeah, one artist that I really love working with at the moment. Well, there's a few actually. There's a kid called Kill Owen, he's kind of, it's like the streets meets Tom Misch, kind of like unbelievable performer, unbelievable songwriter. It's a bit garage, it's a bit James Blake. He can, you know, we can do we can do something commercial and make a banger. He can take you into the deep end and pull them heartstrings a little bit.
Rich.
No, Rich, sorry. Boxed in Rich, give his Manchester debut.
He's already been on.
And then he played Warehouse Project last year. He's doing Part Life. He's doing main stage Part Life this year. Reading and Leeds. He's
definitely does.
He's wicked. And then 4 AM Crew, who would just love, two of the nicest guys you will ever meet in your life. Lovely blokes, and they're just fucking madheads, absolutely. But again, the thing with them, and the reason why I love working with them, because they just love it. You know, and it's got to the point now where we've done this, like make this old Motion in Bristol out a couple of weeks ago, and everything's been organic, and we've not, you know, it's not been like pulling favours in and can we do this and we do that. They just, people love them. People are just magnetised to them. People want the show's exciting, you know. That, and the thing is it's one of them, like they get on a stage and it's 200% that they go in mental. The show's mental. The Warehouse Project didn't hit and run room.
Class.
Just absolute.
And they play for me in January as well. And they're playing on May the 4th as well. Get your tickets.
Get your tickets off Seb.
Hey, come on, girl.
But the thing with that is, like I was saying, is, you know, we had an amazing show. You know, we got a great fee for Warehouse Project, and we got amazing billing, and we had a wicked set time, and blah blah blah. But when you, like I say, when you sit in front of that laptop and you have all these Zoom calls, you have all these meetings and blah blah blah, and there's money this and money that and terms this, and we need this extra and so on and so forth. And when you're just in that moment, and they're going mad, and there's thousands of people on shoulders going nuts, people at the front 4 AM Crew t-shirts on, and me and him just look at each other, and you're just like, fucking hell, this is sick. This is out, and you can't buy that. Do you know what I mean? No money will ever buy that. You know, and that's, they're wicked. And then another one he's become he's found a place in my heart, and he's become a close friend of mine. Yeah, I've only met him once, so and he's moving to Manchester actually before September. He's Samurai Breaks.
Right. Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah. And he's just and I love Sam because everything he makes is just so different, and it's just so mad, and I just don't think there's anyone doing what he's doing.
I've heard loads of his stuff. And
it's just like, what even is this? Is it drum and bass? Yeah. This one's got a donk on it. This one's 3,500 BPM, absolute madness. This one's just made me have a seizure. Like, and he's just a nice, and he's just lives and breathes music, literally non-stop in the studio, non-stop sending you music, and he just gets excited about everything, like just how enthusiastic he is and how excited he is, and it's so easy to get so like long in the tooth and chatting to the same promoters and this, that, and the other, and he just energizes you. Do you know what I mean? And that's what the 4am crew boys are like. They just energize you. They make you want to go out. Like, they make you want to get out of bed in the morning and just go, right, let's do this. Do you know what I mean? And go for it. And then, and then, saying that, like, every artist I work with are all great and, really nice people. And, I'm very lucky, very blessed, and to be doing what I do for a living. And, and that's it. And like I said, and the people who I work with and the company that I work with have always been great and supported me.
Yeah.
And, it's
class.
Rich, one last question before we wrap up.
Yeah.
What is the most ridiculous ride you've ever been asked for?
The most ridiculous rider has always been Levelz' rider. you know what I mean? And the very few people ever got the full lot. But yeah, at the end of the 40, I remember sometimes we did Red Bull took over a stage at that carnival, and obviously that Red Bull are sort of the people that do get you the full rider, right? Do you know what I mean?
That was a Shy FX one, wasn't it?
So, and then I sort of said to them, like, right, don't put it, because they just put it out on the table, and I was like, no, what you have to do is
drip feed
it over the day. Do you know what I mean? So and I was like, that will be gone, and that will be gone in an hour. And they were like, yeah, sure, because it was like 14 bottles of liquor. Hour and a half in, they're like, we need more. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? And it was just like, that's it, Jesus. That's hilarious. So yeah,
but it was me that used to have to send the ride off.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
and I'd just be like, no.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, to be fair with riders, I'm a bit like, I'll get you like the main things, but whether it's like, but I do try and get the hospitality on point, because I think it's important, to sort of get people picked up. And I've got a great guy called Ben who goes and picks people up, and helps me, because obviously it's like we've been a dad, yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that is important. But I remember apparently years ago at a legendary Manchester called Friends of Family, like someone like a American was like, asked for his ride and got given like 3 warm cans of warm stripe, and he was like, what the hell's this, man? And they were like, it's Manchester, you get what you're given. Yeah. And I think there's a bit of that, but I think people aren't too bad. I mean, I remember there was one guy, and I sort of, there's a few like Spore, and I put him in Antwerp Mansion, and he turned up. That gaff, Spore, and he turned up in like one of those sprinters, and this was just off the bat of him. It was Feed Me. He was. Was it? What was it? Was it Feed Me? God. I think that was his alter ego. It was Feed Me in America. So that was in that Skrillex era. And he was like, right, I've kind of taken over America. I'm going to come back and do a Spore tour again. And they were like, right, we're going to do it at Antwerp Mansion. And like Nanny says this, and they turn up a sprint with like this sort of like squad of like American like tour reps and stuff like that, and like leading them into Antwerp Mansion. They were like, so where's the artist toilets? Do you know what I mean?
that one with half a door on it.
Yeah, exactly. I was like,
no bug seat.
It's the only one that has a door. Do you know what I mean? So there you go. I remember them thinking like, what the hell is this? Do you know what I mean?
That would have been mint.
Yeah,
you know what was mad?
One of my favorite.
Back in the day, right? There was remember when all the tech house, remember like Disclosure first emerged, and then there was just that mad like tech house wave, right?
2011.
Yeah. So basically, there was an artist called Cyril Hahn, right, and he had this Destiny. God. There's probably been a million since, but remember like Destiny's Child, Say My Name. Yeah. He had this like tech house.
It was kind of like, what was it? It was kind of like Eton Messy sound. But we did 2 shows in one night, Manchester and Leeds, and they sold them both out on a Monday night with Now Wave and us, and we like. absolutely smashed it.
Yeah, it was but that was the same. But we've done so many mad things like that. But then because he had like one tune, right? So it's rammed. It was like 90% girls, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely rammed. But you couldn't move in the place, and like this music playing all night. No one gives a shit. And then the minute that one tune dropped, the whole place went mental for like 3 minutes. And I think he like reloaded it, played it again, then everyone left.
But also that was at the end. So basically at the time they were trying to shut us because it was like getting to the end. But basically because he'd done a show in Leeds and we've driven across. He started a bit late, but it hadn't. The club were like, it's gone past 4 o'clock now or 3 o'clock. It's Monday. We need to shut. And like,
he'd not played the one banger.
And he'd not played the one. And Wes from Nowhere, he said like, if he doesn't play this tune, there will be a riot. You know what I mean? And they were like, okay, fine, let him to play that tune. And it went on to like 5 past, 10 past. And we had booked Marabou State for that show. He warmed up for they warmed up for him. But
at my festival debut, the last track I played were Euphonique. What's that bloody tune called? But it's like this big. Bolton's been into donk massively, and it's like Cry by Euphonique. It's a massive donk tune, and everyone loves it, but obviously that's a jungle version. And I played it, and the MC come and reloaded it. I went to click play again, and they said, "You're done, mate. It's end at festival." I said, everyone in the crowd's like, "What's going on?" But they all looked as if it was my fault. Just completely cut the sound off, and we'd only just got the first drop, and then they just cut the sound completely off. They just said, "You're done." I was like, what?
Went home without
cutting the sound off. We need to go.
Right, honestly.
Guys, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, nice one, boys.
Nice one, man.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks for having us.